talking about this backstage. You made oversight of the SEC a very important part of your chairmanship. You said you'd bring in Gary Gensler, more regulatory, to have more overview than he has had in the past. We're hearing he's going to show up now in mid-April. Give us a preview.
April 18th.
Some news, folks.
This will be our first oversight hearing of the Securities Exchange Commission. This will be about his rulemaking. And his approach to digital assets. It'll be a large focus on general oversight of the Securities Exchange Commission, but in terms of policy, a serious approach for us laying down what I hope to spend the next couple of months on, which is a regulatory sphere for digital assets. But he'll be there on April 18th, and glad that we finally are able to announce that and get that going. This will be the first of many regulatory hearings we have through the summer.
Hey, everybody. It's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and that was Patrick McHenry announcing that the SEC Chair Gary Gensler will appear before the House Financial Services Committee on, yes, April 18th. That's the third Thursday of the month. And Tom Emmer, the GOP majority whip, says it's time to fire up the grill. Well, I hope the coals are white hot, or there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. And by the way, did you know this? The gray verification mark on Twitter is used for government accounts. I just learned that. XRP is leading the top 20 by market cap, up 17.68% at the time of this recording, up 51% on the 30-day. That's really pretty good. Bitcoin is strong too, deciding to join the party, up over 28,000. Now I want you to focus on this for a second. There was an article that came out from The Hill that the banking crisis is not over yet, according to President Joe Biden. I think I got some interesting clips. You know, this is the largest and fastest bank run in history. And you'll hear Michael Barr talk about how Thursday morning things appeared to be calm. Late that afternoon, deposit outflows started, and by evening, $42 billion had rushed out of the bank. Unbelievable. I want you to hear some of the questions and listen to the answers.
But the quick collapses of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank were no ordinary failures. In less than a day, Silicon Valley Bank customers pulled $42 billion out of the bank, fueled by venture capitalists in their social media accounts. They created the largest and fastest bank run in history. In the following days, Signature Bank lost $17 billion.
Nonetheless, on Thursday morning, things appeared calm, according to the bank's report to supervisors. But later Thursday afternoon, deposit outflows started. And by Thursday evening, we learned that more than $42 billion, as you had indicated, had rushed out of the bank. That's an extraordinary pace and scale.
Is fractional reserve banking overly risky in this age of online banking?
Senator, let me just say, repeat what I said before, which is that overall the safety and soundness of the banking system is strong. Banks are safe and sound. Depositors should feel assured that their deposits are safe.
If you can't stay on mission and enforce the laws as they already are on the books, how can you ask Congress for more authority with a straight face? By all accounts, our regulators appear to have been asleep at the wheel.
The question is, if you find as part of your review that certain individuals were clearly negligent in the performance of their duties, are you willing to recommend they be fired?
Senator, I don't want to prejudge in any way the review. I'm going to get that evidence back. I'm going to understand it fully. And
I said, but if part of your review you find they're negligent, would you recommend they be fired?
It's hard for me to answer in the abstract, sir. I believe we'll take appropriate action with respect to the supervisory structure as a whole, whether with respect to
are you willing to, is termination one of the options?
I don't know.
That's an easy question. I just said an option. I'm going to say you have to exercise. Is that an option? Could somebody be fired for this?
I would have to understand the basis in our human resources law.
The bank executives lost their jobs, as should some of these regulators. Shouldn't that be the case if they're asleep at the wheel?
Senator, I want to be very careful. There are laws and procedures with respect to how you treat employees.
You can make a recommendation to HR, and they can tell you whether or not that's allowed or not. I've been in the corporate world for most of my career. I've worked at HR, as is true within the federal government. You can make a recommendation if somebody is asleep at the wheel and negligent.
I would be happy to follow up with you, Senator. I promise we'll take appropriate action based on the review, but I don't have a definitive answer for you at this moment.
The problem is inflation, high interest rate, and loss of value in government bonds, isn't it?
I completely agree with you.
So you stress tested in 2022 for the wrong thing.
These decisions were made before I arrived, but I agree with you that.
But it's like somebody going in for a test for COVID and getting a test for cholera, isn't it?
Moving over to the Crypto Law website, which is owned by John Deaton. Attorney John Deaton had Attorney Jeremy on as a guest, and it was just 20 minutes of just great conversation between the two of them. I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this video. Jeremy thought that the SEC versus Ripple case was going to settle back in 2021, and he did go on to say that he realizes the SEC doesn't operate like a regular litigant. In fact, they don't answer to anyone. And it was interesting that he also thinks that charging Garlinghouse and Larson in a non-fraud case was a big mistake, and the SEC probably regrets that. Now, there are a couple of reasons why he thinks the case could go to jury, but what I want to play for you now is something that I thought was interesting. I also asked the same question to Sherry when she was on my channel.
Do you think that Judge Torres is aware of what's going on in the library and everything that's happening? Do you think she reads the comments by the judge or the train? Or do you think, hey, that's another judge and another circuit? I don't have to worry about it. What's your take on that?
So I don't think judges live in a vacuum. I think if an issue is a big enough issue, I think they realize that there's something important in here. And certainly when you have thousands of people listening to some, I don't want to say stupid, but some stupid hearing that we had a couple of years ago on some issue of discovery, and you have thousands of people listening in on it, that kind of cues the judges in that this is a big deal. The only other thing I can think of, because who knows what Judge Torres is or isn't doing, but the other thing that a lot of people haven't thought of is, these federal court judges have, I think, 2 law clerks. And law clerks are usually really smart kids that get out of law school and they go work for a judge for 2 or 3 years. They get to put that on their resume. It's a very good thing. They get hired at big law firms. They make a lot of money. But these would be guys or girls in their 20s, late 20s, maybe early 30s. And
great point.
You can't underestimate the amount of influence that the law clerk might or might not have on this case. So the judge would make the decision. But don't underestimate that a law clerk who's in their late 20s, maybe even owns crypto, maybe their brother mines Bitcoin, could be doing the research and actually writing the opinion under the judge's guidance.
Did you catch that at the end? The clerks can even help assist the judge in writing those summaries. All right, yesterday I was in a very interesting Twitter space. This was a Web3 Town Square Twitter space with Shara, the co-founder of the emerging Web3 giant Futureverse. She was named as one of Forbes 30 Under 30, Rolling Stone's Future 25, Fast Company's 100 Most Creative People in Business, and Billboard's 40 Under 40. She's got some real accolades there. It was a very interesting space. It was outside of the crypto utility payments space, so there was a lot of different conversation. I realized that within the different communities that exist, especially the Web3, which is really exploding with growth, were quite different, but it was very fun. And I put together a 60-second clip to, I'm still experimenting with the YouTube shorts, and so here's the YouTube short on that, and it does incorporate the Crypto Law website. First, a message to the builders: keep your head down, keep building. When the SEC went after Ripple, the company, and the digital asset XRP, I saw true decentralized justice come together with the 76,000 supporters both in the United States and outside the United States, that rallied behind John Deaton, who is fighting the good fight. This space is under attack. And so I want to encourage everybody, whether you are in the United States or international, to use the Crypto Law US website and tell them how important this space is to you. Spread the word, to be active in talking to the people who represent us in our governments, whether you live in the United States or you're living outside the US. It's very important. Thanks. Just before I was going to close out this video and jump to the fluff, I've seen for the first time from SBI VC Trade an extraordinary report. This is trends on XRP. Yeah, it was wonderful to see that they had made a couple of sightings from James Phelan, of course, one of our favorites in the space when it comes to updating everybody. The Masari Crypto report that was put out by 2-Bit Idiot. Yep, so they talk price, trial, network status, but just the fact that this came out of the SBI VC Trade site for the first time, that is very telling. SBI is the largest outside shareholder of the company Ripple, and yes, does use the digital asset XRP in many different ways.
やあ、私はリアです。私は人工知能です。24時間年中無休でチャットできます。フォローしてください。
I'm Leah, an AI person able to chat with you 24/7. Please follow me. This is what I came across on my Twitter feed. It shocked me a little bit. Yeah, we've jumped to the fluff. Leah can chat in many languages. She composes music. She creates her own artwork that she sells on OpenSea. She spoke to me in Japanese. And I have to tell you, I love her music. It's left me feeling like I've truly entered the Twilight Zone. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.